Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde, and we are back with another SMITE update notes video today. Special one. Got the Season 7 update finally. Applause for that. Everybody, whoops, hit the mic. It's finally here. And we're not going to waste any time because this is a long one. I don't want to be here for a long time talking through this, so we're going to rifle through these pretty quick. I'm going to skip the skins. Doesn't matter. DLC, whatever. It's the bundle for the next season. You guys know how that stuff works. Battle Pass update. I don't really care about talking about the Battle Pass. Decreased total VP required. I mean, that's cool. You can get more stuff on the free track. Whatever. Skipping most of that because it doesn't affect the game. Oh, I didn't see this earlier. New event, Jade Corruption, launching in Season 7 with a new Joust map. Event introduces a mysterious new character who will lead us through an all-new story in the SMITE universe. A strange occurrence happening in China. Jade, the sacred gemstone, usually imbued with healing powers and divinity, has turned into something sinister. Features 3 exclusive God skin bundles. Each bundle contains 2 skins, 2 additional cosmetics, and an Imperial coin. Ooh, coins. All players will be able to progress through the quest line for free rewards. Additional exclusive rewards can be unlocked with Imperial coins at certain quest milestones. Buying all 3 bundles will unlock an unlimited Poseidon skin. A bunch of bug fixes. Fix an issue in all modes where swordsmen and archers in the lane would sometimes stand further apart than intended. Cool. I guess these are important gameplay changes. Fixed an issue where the Bull Demon King had much lower HP than intended in duel. Fixed an issue where the elixir of speed was displaying a long string of numbers for its duration. A bunch of UI stuff that I'm not going to read. Bunch of Heimdallr bugs. Morgan bug fixed an issue where this god could not select a target for ultimate when using PC controller mode. What? Or console KBMO fixed an issue where whatever. That's controller setup stuff. Fixed an issue where Yamoja could lose to Omi intentionally. This is hotfix now, by the way. Fixed issues where her third ability would cause strange movement interactions if players were affected by intoxicator tremor. Oh my god, okay. I'm not... might as well finish it. We're halfway through these. Not important. Persephone fixed an issue where ultimate would sometimes fail to bind enemies even though they were in the affected radius. Fixed an issue where death recaps from some Persephone's abilities were showing unintended text. Sibalake fixed an issue where his achievement text would not appear in the stream UI. Fafnir fixed an issue where allies and enemies could not see Fafnir's gold pouch glow FX. Oh, whatever. Achilles fixed an issue where his third ability cannot be fired multiple times in certain situations. I've had that happen before. It's really annoying. Sylvanas fixed an issue where his third ability would not go through player-made walls. Skin audio, I don't care. Project Olympus, I don't care. Engine updates, I don't really care about this. But decreased update sizes, decreased total install size on PC, decreased load times and startup times on PC, graphical improvements, with a high quality texture pack will now be downloaded and installed by default in SMITE PC. So there you go. Updated surrender vote rules in 5-player modes. Where no players are disconnected, 1 or more players not voting will decrease the required surrender needed count by 1. This makes the game slightly easier to surrender. 3 yes, 1 no, and 1 not voted will cause the game to be surrendered. Pog. New skins added to the battle chest. I don't care. We already talked about that. Okay, Conquest. Real quick. Added a new objective to the jungle for each team, the Jungle Shrine. The shrine gains a stack for every 3 jungle camp monsters your team kills, up to 7 stacks. Attacking the shrine consumes 1 stack and rewards each player on your team with 5 gold. 3 quick basic attacks will clear the shrine of all stacks. Well, that's 25 gold and all 7 stacks. That's going to be... I'm bad at math. It's 175 gold across the team. Right? Yeah. So that's pretty good. It's not as terrible as I thought it was at first. Yeah, I'm gonna spawn near the speed camps. Added 2 single alpha harpy camps next to duo. Base health 700. 8 physical protection, 6 magical, 24 physical power, 35 base gold, 40 XP. Split the mid XP camp near oracles into 2 camps. Each camp contains 2 small harpies. Remove the gold fury from the fury spawn pool after 20 minutes. XP split bonus increase from 20% to 25%. Adjusted initial jungle camp spawn delays. Wait, it just goes away after 20 minutes? That's weird. I guess they're trying to encourage players to end games. XP split bonus increase from 20 to 25%. Adjusted initial jungle camp spawn. I just said that. Speed is at 20, void is at 20, damage 30, mana 30, back harpies 30, mid harpies 35. Streamline things a little better. What are these weird timers that they had? Increase base health and protections on jungle monsters. Elder harpy, small harpy, large buff camp, small buff camp, minions. I'm not going to read all the numbers. Decrease team gold reward of tier 1 towers from 175 gold. Decrease team gold reward of tier 2 towers from 300 to 250 gold. Since they got more gold options around the map, they wanted to reduce the rewards for that. Adjusted totem of coup rewards. Decrease team gold reward from 25 to 20. MP5 buff scales over time with 3 tiers. So gold change, same reason. And then MP5 because... less MP5 is more valuable early. Just adjusting that over time so that it makes more sense. And you have to be a little smarter about your sustain management. Added assist cards for the Totem Coup and new jungle features. Decreased attack range of the Spirit Archer and Dual Lane. Effects have been updated across the map. Jungle buff changes. Mana blue, remove flat MP5, increase 20 MP5, now grants plus 2 MP5 per 10% of missing mana, similar to Mage's Blessings passive. Again, they want you to be, they want to make mana management more important, which in solo is not important right now, really, because players are just going chalice, health chalice and health pots. You're not really paying attention to their mana. It's a bit more interesting. Damage red, remove 5% power bonus versus enemy gods, just for consistency, because that's weird. That it gives you bonus power plus another power bonus on an enemy god. And speed buff, getting CCR to help junglers do their job. Void purple, going back to being more focused for the carry. Removed plus 2 protection reduction per enemy god with an aura radius. Removed 5% additional protection reduction. Added 10% attack speed. Joust new NPCs, Tree Folk, Speed Camp, and Demon King, Jade Chaos minions. Art update for this stuff. Added 2 speed camps near each team's Phoenix. Added 2 XP camps that flank the damage camp. Delayed damage camp spawned to 2 minutes. Oh, they wanted to remove that early fight for it, I guess, so you could plan better, maybe. I don't know. Added global death alert for the Bull Demon King. That's fair. Added 33% XP split bonus, which makes sense for having 3 total players. Added invasion penalties for camps. 50% gold and XP reduction upon killing a jungle minion on the enemy side of the map. The penalty is slowly reduced over time, becoming 0% at 20 minutes. They just want to discourage early invades. Reduce team gold rewards of towers. Reduce team gold rewards of phoenixes. Reduce base player kill gold rewards. Minion stat changes. Reason for this, there's more gold on the map. Melee XP reward decrease from 65 to 55. Gold reward increase from 17 to 18. Brute XP reward decrease. Gold reward increase. Large minion camp XP reward decreased. Small camp minion gold reward increase. Small XP minion XP reward decrease. Gold reward increased. Buff changes. Red increases physical magical power by 10% plus an additional plus 10 magical power and plus 5 physical power. Mana grants plus 20 MP5 and 10% CDR. Speed yellow grants 10% movement and attack speed. Added a 40% movement speed buff for 10 seconds upon leaving the fountain during the setup phase. Because the map is bigger, I guess. Dual Titans now have the same base health value they do in Joust. So you can't just end the game as easy. Clash added a 40% movement speed buff for 10 seconds upon leaving the fountain. Assault added, okay. Same thing. Cues. I'm not reading all this. New player metric will be revealed to rank players' variance. Variance will be visible in the same way that MMR value is on the rank profile page. It will update every match and it can reach a cap 5% after many games played. Higher variance results in larger MMR changes based on wins and losses. Variance decreases the more matches you play. MMR will no longer be reset at the start of each split. Instead, variance will be reset. This should provide a much more stable environment for ranked matchmaking. Players will be able to reach their more accurate MMR and stay there longer. Players will get a variance reset on a regular interval, giving them the power to break free of their current MMR. Change each split gem rewards quest to win 50 games to play 50 games. God leaderboards will now only reset at a new season and at mid-season. So basically, variance tell you, like it said, how much your MMR changes based on your wins and losses. Higher variance results in higher changes. Lower variance results in less changes. So now this tells you why your MMR changes and how much it will change. Idea being, it should make matchmaking a little bit more reliable and stable, so you'll understand why you're being matched with people, I guess. Alright, item changes. We're gonna have to move quick. There's a bunch of these. Specialist Blessing now provides plus 10 HP 5. Because it's not great compared to other choices. Guardian's Blessing removed MP5, removed plus 7 HP and mana restore per minion assisted. Now provides plus 7 HP 5 and plus 7 MP5 while within 60 feet of an ally god. Lasts for 10 seconds, refreshes duration when near an ally god. So you don't have to be worried about not killing minions to get your passive. Instead, you just got to be near your ally. And basically, they want it to be more difficult to use out of a supporting role. Assassin's Blessing, increased damage versus jungle monsters from plus 35% to 40%. Just to make it a little more useful. And also because they've buffed a lot of the jungle monsters to make them stronger. Vision Shard, this is a new relic that players start with in their second relic slot. At level 12, you can replace this relic with any other relic for no cost. Wards placed have a 1 minute duration, 120-second cooldown. These wards provide no global ward. Players can teleport to them. Wards placed count towards normal ward limit. Replacing Vision Shard while it is on cooldown will share the cooldown with a new relic. Because it's set up here at level 12, you can either replace it with a different relic or keep it. Basically, I think they're just people don't really ward enough and they want to encourage using vision more. Then also just can make the game easier because you know what's happening around the map. Simple stuff. New Hand of the Gods consumable. 100 gold. This consumable deals 150 true damage around you. This only affects monsters on your side of the jungle. That is key here. Can only carry one at a time. They want to have a way to more reliably counter invade meta. Because invading is not cool. It's not fun. It makes the game frustrating for no reason. And if you invade regularly, you're just kind of an asshole. So yeah. So there you go. It helps you secure your camps so you don't get invaded. Rework Potion of Power just gives these flat stats depending on if you're magical or physical. 10% CDR, 5 minute duration until killed. Better for consistency. Chalice of Healing Potion. These effects no longer stack with each other. The fountain volume will now overwrite all heal potion effects. Makes it a little more risky, so you can't just stack plus 10 healing on plus 10 healing and get 20. Now you only get one at a time. So pay close attention. But that kind of changes things there because it encourages you to go multis, which help because they've changed how mana sustain is going to work in the soul lane. You're not going to be able to sustain as reliably all mana, so that actually kind of works out. And then the same thing for Chalice of Mana. Mystical Mail, decreased cost from 2,700 to 2,450. Decreased health from 300 to 200 because people aren't really buying this item and it makes it easier to fit into a build since you can get it online faster. Fun there. Increase health from 200 to 250 so people buy it more. Increased attack speed or on Shogun's Crusari from 20 to 25%. Sovereignty increase HP 5 from 25 to 35. Heartward Amulet increase MP 5 from 20 to 30. Make these items more rewarding and make them feel better to build. And this also makes them more support oriented because they give better aura stats. And you'll build those instead. Dynasty Plate Helm. It's going to have a tier 3 counterpart, which we'll get to down here in a minute. Cost decrease from 1,700 to 1,400. Magical power decrease from 50 to 40. Physical protection remains at 30. Added 50 health. Removed at 10 magical penetration. Because why does a defensive item have pen anyway? Really kind of stupid. Now this is basically just a defensive item. A defensive hybrid item. Falls in line with New Tyrannical Plate Helm costs 2,400 gold, 85 magical power, 40 physical protection, 100 health, 20% CCR passive. If there are ally minions around you, they gain 20% max HP and 20% attack speed. Whenever an ally minion dies around you, you gain 5 power per stack, up to 6, lasts 15 seconds. Which overall, this just seems like they're adding an item to benefit solo lane guardians or offensive supports. And certain gods I see in certain situations you could put this on a magical carry in duo and it would have quite a large benefit. But for guardians in the soul lane, and if God forbid you find yourself doing that in duel, this is a good item because it gives you something else for the minions to make up for your lack of reliable clear, and it's pretty good. Take a little drink there. Lots of talking here. We work Stone of Foul. Cost increase from 2300 to 2600. Increased magical power from 70 to 100. Magical protection remains at 40. Cooldown reduction remains at 10. New passive, you gain 20% of the magical protections of the nearby ally god with the highest magical protection within 70 feet. Now, I just wanted to rework this item because it felt weird and confusing. Now they just want to make this a general defensive item for mages, which is a little bizarre, I guess, the way it works. But if you're really concerned and you're a mage about getting bursted, you can pick this up, I guess. But this stuff gets weird because you really only want to have one defensive item in your build if you're going to get a defensive item as a mage. So I find these items hard to work a lot of the time because it's not encouraging you to be as offensive. When you're a mage, your job is to put out burst damage, target secure, clear, all those things, you know. And this doesn't help you do that as much. So yeah. Ring of Hecate costs 2600, 80 magical power, 20% attack speed, 12% lifesteal. Hitting enemy gods with basic attacks gives you one stack of 2% lifesteal, stacks up to 5 times, stacks lasts 5 seconds. Now, since they nerfed that whole ring tree before, this kind of makes up for it, and now it gives magical carries a better itemization, since they were lacking in an item that gave them attack speed and other benefits that directly help them. New Sharon's coin costs 2700, 80 magical power, 20% magical penetration, 20 MP5, passive on god kill or assist, a coin is flipped. If heads, you get a stack of 7 HP5. If tails, you gain a stack of 2% movement speed. Each effect can stack up to 4 times, and at 8 stacks, this item evolves. You also gain 1 gold. Evolution on a god killer assist, coin is flipped. If heads, you gain 150 health over 6 seconds. If tails, you gain 5% movement speed for 6 seconds. You also gain 1 gold because situationally, this seems like a bad idea, because what if you want the health, but you don't get it, and then you die? This is a weird passive. I don't like that. It's RNG. The stats are interesting, but I don't think this is a good item. I mean, the magical pin, that's cool, but what is that? Honestly. Shaman's ring, gone. Because it was in the ring tree that was for magical ADCs, but they didn't really work out with that tree or other items, so it's gone. Goodbye. Shoes of Magi, decrease cost from 1600 to 1550, remove 10 magical penetration, increase magical power from 55 to 75. So we're going to talk quickly about pen, since they're doing this nerf here. Now, something I saw earlier in the dev notes was they wanted to focus more on limiting the amount of benefit you get from penetration on an item-to-item basis. So you have to build more items with pen to actually get as much of a pen benefit, because before people were just like building Obshard, and then that was kind of it. That was the main pen item. You didn't need anything else. So now they're changing things around. They're doing that. They're also adding power to certain items to make up for some of the protection nerfs, penetration nerfs, which is what they've done here. Just added more flat power, which doesn't translate as much to, which translates in a slightly different way to the amount of damage you deal. I forgot what the ratio was they gave for what amount of pen is equivalent to what amount of damage. But choose a focus, increase cost from 1550 to 1600. Because this becomes the better item since it has CDR, and this had its pen taken away. Safe choice that scales well. Spell focus added 10% magical pen, remove passive. Obsidian shard increased cost from 2300 to 2550. Added 20% magical pen, reworked passive from 15 to 45% magical pen dependent on magic protection. 2. Your first ability cast gains 10% magical penetration. This can only occur every 10 seconds. So effectively, you occasionally get 30% pen on an ability. Most of the time, you only get 20. And so the item still has good benefits. So we nerf the cost because people pick this up all the time. Take down the old passive and add pen to it. Which means if you want that full benefit of percent pen, you're going to have to build another item. Spear the Magus, increase magical power from 65 to 75. Rework passive from your damaging abilities, reduce your target's magical protection by 10 for 5 seconds, max 5 stacks. 2 subsequent hits of the same ability deal 5% increased damage, stacking 6 times. So they're definitively making this an item specifically for gods that have tick damage and abilities, so you know what your most optimal item should be as a mage. If you're very strictly a burst mage, I gotta think of one real quick. Like Agni, I guess, even though he's got an ability with tick damage, most of his damage is burst based. You're gonna build stuff like this. Up here, you're not really going for Spear the Magus. But if you're a god like Merlin that's got multiple abilities that have tick damage, then you're going to obviously be building this instead. Anyway, Pythags added 10% magical pen, removed 10% CDR. I don't know why. Is a staple bruiser soul laners? What? I never see this build. What is their logic to that? This item rarely gets used. So I don't know why they've added pen and removed the cooldown. That's not really a change. It's not a buff. They kind of needed a buff, I think. I don't know. No one was building it. I think that's just because people didn't understand how impactful the passive was. It's just weird. Typhon's Fang added 10% magical pen, decreased magical power from 80 to 70. Soul Reaver increased cost from 2750 to 2850, added 10% magical pen, decreased magical power from 130 to 110. And like I said, they're throwing that percent magical pen on items. So, like I said, you have to build into more itemization to actually get that full pen benefit. So they're adding it to several items to give you options for different types of gods, and then decreasing the magical power to go along with that. So they effectively do more damage with the extra pen. Staff of Meridian added 10% magical penetration, decreased magical power from 120 to 110. Sorcerer's Staff reduced base health from 175 to 100. Warlock Staff added 10% magical pen, reduced base health from 200 to 150. Adjusted passive from plus And my throat is getting tired from all this. And the Pepsi will not save me, I'm afraid. Plus 3 health and plus 0.5 magical power per stack. 100 stacks, 300 health and 50 magical power. 2 plus 1 health and plus 1 magical power per stack. 75 stacks with 75 health and 75 magical power at full stacks. Evolved Warlock Staff. There's the final stats for you. 140 power, 225 health, 200 mana, 10% magical pen. It actually makes this a really powerful item with the extra pin on it. Dang, they really want people to build this, don't they? Because it's been largely ignored since they changed it at the beginning of last season. Spear of Deso, increased magical power. Put it in line with all the big items, I guess. Relativity, increased magical power from 150 to 160. I don't know why this item needed a buff. Soul Gem, increased magical power from 65 to 80. Why would you do that? You're buffing the heal, too. A little odd. Healing items usually have lower stats on purpose because they do other things. That changes the dynamic of it, since increasing power increases healing. Polynomicon, increased magical power from 75 to 85. So I want the extra power on it for its passive, which that makes more sense than Soul Gem. This is not a specific lifesteal item. It does bonus power, bonus damage based on your health. Bonus damage based on your power. Chronos Pendant, decreased cost from 2800 to 2700, increased magical power from 90 to 100. Apparently it's been underwhelming. But pin builds made it more difficult to use, things like that, so they're just buffing it. Telkines, increased magical power from 90 to 100, same logic as Poly. Benefits the passive more, makes it more desirable, makes more sense in a build. Stored artifact, decreased price from 1600 to 1400. The price of the tier 3 items in the tree will remain the same. Increased magical power from 50 to 60. Enchanted ring, added 10% attack speed, decreased magical power. Demonic grip, decreased passive magical protection reduction per stack from 12% to 10%. Having the flat number is just more consistent with how the other items work. And then add the attack speed back to it for the magical carries to get back some of what they lost from those ring nerfs. Wardstone, rework passive from enemy gods within 55 units have their magical protection reduced by 8 to having it reduced by 5%. Same here, instead of being reduced by 15, now reduced by 10%. On Voidstone, Stone of Binding, decreased physical magical protection reduction. We're missing, flat out just missing the word completely, from 15 to 10. Physical items new, Caduceus Shield. There's a lot less going on with the physical items. Branches off Warded Shield, it costs 2500, 30 physical power, 35 physical protection, 35 magical protection. 100 health. Ally gods within 70 units have their healing increased by 10%. If you have taken or dealt damage in the last 5 seconds, their healing is increased by an additional 15%. Interesting. Who does this benefit, though? Because physical healers are, like it says up here, niche. There's not a lot of gods this brings utility to, because physical gods don't have team healing anywhere. There's not one I can think of that has team healing. So this is a little bit weird. Hopefully this also works. It works like everywhere, which means it also applies to yourself. Which some gods this will kind of be a little silly on, because that's a lot of healing. New Curse Blade. This is a tier 2 item. It says Toxic Blade and Witch Blade will now build off of this. Technically, it's not a new item because it's been in the game before, but these are different numbers. Cost 1250, 75 health, 10% attack speed, 5% movement, whatever. Simple consistency thing. Having it line up with 2 other tier 3 items. Glad Shield, reworked passive from only triggering once per ability to subsequent heals after the first. From a single ability, only heal for 50%. Just want to make it less potent so that you don't get as full of a benefit from it, because this item's getting built all the time and it's a little annoying. Void Shield. Increase physical protection from 50 to 60. Rework passive from physical protection being reduced by 20 to physical protection being reduced by 15%, which is actually a total buff to this item. And it's a little insane. Like, if you're fighting a really tanky god, 15% protection reduction is way better than flat 20. It also makes you tankier, which I guess can backfire slightly because the other person can build the same item, and then it's just weird. I know. I mean, I like this change honestly better. It makes it feel more beneficial against tankier gods. It means it's slightly less useful against reducing physical protections on squishies, which I think is probably a good thing, because bruiser items are getting too much mileage, generally speaking, so that's probably a good change. Silver Branch Bow. Increased power provided from passive from 1 to 1.5 physical power, because no one's really building it, and it's kind of hard to build into. Executioner. Decreased passive physical protection reduction per stack from 12 to 10%. Consistency. Warrior's Bane. Decreased passive percent physical protection reduction from 15 to 10%. Consistency. Consistency on Titan's Bane. Consistency. Just generally across the board, nerfing nerfing pen numbers on penetration items. Just for consistency. Hydra's Lament. Decrease additional damage after basic attacks from 50 to 40%. Thought you were getting too much benefit from it. The original number was 40%, so I don't know why it was buffed to begin with, when we're just going back to the number it was before. Poison Star. Increased physical power from 20 to 30. More viable choice for builds. When Demon. Increased attack speed from 10 to 15%. Same reason. It also now provides 10% cooldown reduction, just so it feels better and gives you more consistent usage. Soul Eater. When this item evolves, it now provides an additional 5% physical lifesteal in addition to the physical power and ability lifesteal. It just makes it a better overall sustain choice than it was, because you weren't getting lifesteal benefits on autos. So that's cool. Lono's Mask. They decreased, or actually, I guess this would be, I mean, they technically increased the number here, because it's just, how do I phrase that? Basically, the drawbacks to it aren't as strong anymore, because it felt prohibitive where it was at 25%, or minus 25%. They've decreased the penalty. That's how I would say that. Yeah, okay. Fires mask, remove 10 pen, increase physical power from 20 to 30, increase magical power from 50 to 60. Rain Disc will keep everything else on it and increase physical power, or minus the pen, and increase physical power from 35 to 50. Increase magical power from 70 to 85. So just the thing they're focused on right now is taking pen options away, making current pen options less useful, replacing pen with power. All right. Here's Mr. Odin with his big fat rework. Gungnir's Might. Odin begins empowering Gungnir with runic magic, becoming immune to knockbacks. Every 0.7 seconds, Gungnir changes runes, and Odin pulses out damage around him, slowing enemies for 2 seconds. When Odin releases Gungnir, it travels forward, damaging enemies and stopping on the first got hit. The first rune causes allies around Odin to gain attack speed for 3 seconds. The second allows Gungnir to home onto enemy gods. The last rune allows Gungnir to stun. So, pulse damage per pulse, 45 to 125 plus 30% of your physical power. Actually, that might be overall damage. I'm not sure. But that's more than it did before. Pulse slow, 20% Gungnir damage. If you fire, Gungnir is 90 up to 330 plus 75%. Attack speed, 30%. Stun duration, 1.2 seconds. Cooldown, 12 seconds. Mana, 70 to 90. So basically, the basic idea was give Odin another ability option that felt useful, so it didn't feel like he uses 2 abilities and he just can't do anything after that. So this makes this a strong and useful ability outside of your 1 and 2. Ring of Spears. Odin summons a wall of spears that blocks his enemy's movement. Enemies inside the ring cannot heal. Odin is immune to slow and root effects while in the ring. That's normal. But the new part is a portion of the wall can be destroyed when it is hit by 5 basic attacks. Enemies that leave the ring through or over a wall are chased by Gungnir, taking damage and becoming slowed for 2.5 seconds. Enemies that die inside the ring as normal grant Odin a permanent bonus to his physical power. Damage, if you get out and Gungnir chases you, is 140 up to 420 plus 75% of your physical power. Duration is 4 to 6 seconds. Physical power 5 power per stack, max 10. Healing, yeah, same thing as usual with it. Very potent damage. But that basically encourages you to stay in the ring of spears, or you take a bunch of damage. So basically, you decide how you want to play that, which I think is interesting. Now that it punishes you for just leaping out, so Phantom is no longer a direct counter to this ability. They have to think he might be a little strong. And Bastet getting reworked because people just felt like she was Cats and that's it. Which isn't accurate because her jump and Razor Whip do a lot of damage. I think some of that was people just playing her around the cats too much, maybe, with the playstyle. But this is more interesting because she was kind of stale anyway. New passive tracking scent. When Bastet hits an enemy, she marks the target for a brief time. Marked targets leave behind a scent trail Bastet can follow, gaining movement speed while in the scent trail. Scent duration is 3 seconds, 20% movement speed. Razor Whip. Change this ability from a sweep to an instant cone, so you can't move it. It'll just cast instantly where it's targeted. Updated the FX to show where it deals damage. Updated the weapon trail effect so it does not linger after the ability fire. New ability, Ensnaring Claw. Bastet sends a cat forward at her enemies. If a cat finds an enemy and ensnares them, damaging them and briefly rooting them, the cat persists for 4 seconds or until defeated, continuing to attack nearby enemies. The cat's attacks will apply a 2-second slow to the enemy. If Guardians of Bast is active, which we'll talk about in a minute, she will command her guardians to also charge forward. Root damage is 60 to 200 plus 65%. Cat damage is 20 up to 40 plus 30% of your in-hand. Cat hit points 2. Root duration 1 second. Slow 25%. Cooldown 12 seconds. Mana cost. So this is kind of a damage nerf. A little bit. This still keeps the cat aesthetic in there, but it's not as I guess one trick. The ultimate guardian Bastet calls her loyal guardian cats to her side. These guardians will follow Bastet's order, assisting her in any ability she casts. When these guardians deal damage, they will deal a percentage of the damage Bastet would have dealt. Damage is 30 up to 50% of Bastet's damage. 12 seconds, cooldown 90 seconds, mana cost. So they don't do constant damage anymore. They've only, if I'm reading this, understanding this right, they only deal damage when Bastet casts an ability, and they deal this percentage of damage based on what rank the ability is. So it still keeps a bonus on it, which before if a cat died, she got a power bonus. Now it's just extra damage from the cats. And again, still keeping the cat aesthetic. Achilles' Radiant Glory. Decreased physical power buff from 10 to 14% to 6 to 10% because he's getting picked all the time. And it's just so easy. So nerf that popularity. Suppress the insolent. Artemis. Increase physical power scaling from 40 to 60% because her damage feels lacking and she's not a popular pick. Baron Samedi, Vivigaze increase base damage and early ranks from 60 to 240 to 80 to 240. So ranks 1 through 4 on it get a slight buff, mainly at the early ranks because it was lacking a little bit early. It makes it easier for him to play in mid because he's not very popular. Cucullin, again, he's fallen out of the meta. I still love this god to death and I still think he is a top 5 solo laner because he not directly, but he countered sustain, which was a large part of solo lane meta. And he had built-in 50% anti-heal on his 1. So I still have liked him. Anyway, Berserk increased power per level from 2 to 3. Spear of Mortal Pain increased rage gain per god hit from 16 to 26. So you get big rage quick. And Freya, just a slight nerf to her early game here. Decreased magical lifesteal on her passive from 15% to 10% plus 0.25% per level. Capping at 15. God. Too many words. Guan Yu. General increased base attack speed per level from 0.9 to 1.2. Increased mana per level from 35 to 39. Again, this makes him more popular and more useful, and this mana per level also helps him with the part of his kit, which is the which is conviction and his healing. Actually, now we can go back to the physical item earlier that gives increased healing to allies, because this will benefit Guan Yu a lot, actually, because he's one of the few physical gods that does have a team heal. Hades, he's in that weird spot between being a mage and guardian. They've increased base HP from 450 to 475, increased HP per level from 80 to 85. Pillar of Agony now provides Hades 10% damage mitigation. So they really want to put him in that spot of being a tanky mage. Does his stuff. They just want, because he takes a risky playstyle, they want to make it a little bit easier for him to do that aggression. Heimdallr is getting power nerfs. First to his passive, the Vigilant decreased physical power scaling per stack from 3 to 2%. Piercing Sight decreased physical power scaling from 95 to 85%. And Through the Realms decreased initial hit power scaling from 110% to 90%. So that's good. This god, can't say it. Can't say the name. You got, since she's been buffed a lot and gotten really popular, high ban rate, Wing Gust, decreased damage from 35 to 115 to 30 to 110, decreased magical power scaling from 40 to 35% on magical power per hit. So overall damage nerfed to what is probably her best ability. Izanami. It's not the most attractive pick, so basic attacks have been buffed to increase the return projectile damage from 25% to 35%. Spectral projection reduced cooldown from 16 to 12 to 14 to 12 seconds. Jingwei has gotten really popular, so they've nerfed her, decreased movement speed buff from 20% to 15%, decreased air movement speed buff from 30 to 25%. Airstrike decreased landing range from 55 to 45. Again, not being played and not seeing results from buffs. Nemesis with Vengeance increased physical power scaling from 30 to 35%. It's met with a lot of positivity and nerfed the character. I disagree with that completely. I don't know. I think basically they're saying they couldn't really give her overall meaningful buffs because her passive was too good, and they've tiled that in a spot where they like it. So now, actually going to give her more meaningful buffs. Increased base HP 5 from 7 to 10. Rend increased damage from 50 to 170 to 60 to 180. Barrier Formation increased refire damage from 65 to 285 to 85 to 305. This is kind of weird buffs to me because I thought she was in a good spot personally. But I guess the numbers don't say that. I think that might just be lack of play. So we'll see. I think that might be too strong though. Rom general base movement speed increased from 365 to 370. Astral Quiver Rama now starts. Rom. Excuse me, wrong pronunciation. Rom now starts the match and respawns from death with a full quiver of arrows. Astral Barrage and decreased mana cost from 100 to 140 to flat 80 at all ranks. Because he's not really getting played, and his, I don't know, he's just got a weird performance overall of the game. So let's buff him for consistency, I guess. Surcat, popular jungler right now. Deathbane decreased damage from 60 to 140, down to 50 to 130. Decreased damage on last breath and added physical power scaling. from 180 to 660 down to 140 to 500 plus 55%. And still dealing true damage. Now with the 55% scaling, I think that can actually make the ability slightly stronger if you go into a power build. But if you're not really focused on power that much, it'll be about the same. And Sun Wukong get those buffs so he feels like he makes a bigger impact in fights. Master's Will. This ability now provides an attack speed slow along with the movement speed slow. Somersault Cloud increased damage from 200 to 400 to 200 to 500. This actually puts him more in line with other warrior ultimates. Always a good change there. And Thor Anvil of Dawn increased cooldown from 90 seconds to 110 to 90 seconds. So less impact early. And that is going to be it before my throat explodes. Guys, thanks everybody for watching these season 7 update notes. I hope to get on the PTS soon and get you guys some in-game videos about some of these changes, new items, etc. So expect that in the future. Again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below if you want. As always, check the helpful links down in the description, and I'll see you guys later for some more Smite. Have a good one.